All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Cody Myler, and we are back with another episode of the Myler Flex Podcast. We are on episode number 12. That's right, number 12, and I'm looking forward to it. We've got a really interesting topic today about fitness marketing, and we have Kimberly Kirt here soon. We're going to talk to her about all of her things that she can do to help your business and all the antics that you can implement, not only in fitness, but even all different types of services for your business. So let's go ahead. It's April 24th, and like I always tell you guys what the weather is like, it is crappy out. It's got storms. It sucks out here in Dallas, but you know, we're going to live with it. That's okay. The week in review. So to give you guys an update of what happened of all last week, it was Easter weekend, obviously. Some of you guys got Friday and Monday off. My daughter, she didn't even have to go to school on Monday. I was like, what? We didn't get that opportunity when I was young. We only had Friday off. But so let's see what happened. We actually just stayed low Friday night. Didn't do a whole lot, but Saturday we went ahead and obviously, you know, did our workouts, did the things that we have to do, about 75 hard. I'll tell you what day we're about to be on with that. Then we went to in Carrollton, we went to a place that's kind of like a big area that has a lot of like an Asian grocery stores and restaurants and coffee shops and all that stuff. And so we went to a place called Jen, and I threw down on some Korean barbecue. Totally ate a crap load. I will tell you one thing though that I noticed compared to back in the day when I used to eat all the meat and the rice and everything else with it. You know, right now, since I'm keto, I don't eat all the rice, and I'm loading up on all this meat, and before I'd fall asleep and I just felt like crap, and now I'm ready to go. I keep on going. I did let's see, that Korean barbecue Saturday, and then the week before that we did a Brazilian steakhouse, and I freaking loaded up on that, and I was really shocked at how good I felt. I was like, wow, I don't feel sleepy, and everybody else was like, oh, I feel like crap walking out there. I was like, hey, I feel awesome. So that's a big plus with the all keto stuff that we're doing. Let's see, so we ate at Jen, and then we went to a place, never heard of it before, since we aren't drinking for 75 days. We had to go to my next best thing, coffee, and I love my coffee. So there was a place called Tom and Tom's Coffee. It was huge for a coffee shop. I mean, it was 2 stories. It was gigantic, and I guess it started off in South Korea, I think it was. They got like 491 chains. I looked it up, and it was really cool. Another like Asian style coffee place, and it was really cool. We sat down and looked at the rest of our calendar, and you know, planned and all that good stuff. So then you guys know Sunday was Easter. We went over to my wife's aunt and uncle's house, or aunt's house, and the rest of the family was there, and we just had, you know, lunch and just hung out. And then Sunday night I did all my video stuff. You guys may have seen some things go up on Instagram the last couple days, so I did that. Like I said, 75 hard, we're still doing it. Today is day 30, so if you guys don't know what 75 hard is, it's a challenge, not a fitness challenge, but it's for mental toughness. So you got 5 things you have to do every single day. You have to work out 2 times a day, no matter what, for 45 minutes apiece, and one of those workouts has to be outside. So hopefully it stopped raining right now, because I still got to do my outdoor workout today. If not, it'll be like it was 3 weeks ago. I was out in the pouring rain, my wife and I out running, and it sucks, but you know, you got to do it. So that's number 1. Number 2, you got to drink a gallon of water every day. Number 3, you have to stick to a diet. Doesn't matter what your diet is, but it has to be a good, clean, healthy diet. Mine's keto, and you cannot drink any alcohol for 75 days. I know that's the one that kicks everybody out. They're like, nah, screw that. Let's see. Oh, you have to take a progress picture every single day, so that way at the end of the 75, you can make like a flip book and see how your body, you know, has kind of changed. Even though it isn't a body transformation challenge, but you can see that obviously with working out twice a day and eating right and drinking a gallon of water, you're probably going to have some changes, and not drink any alcohol at all. And then the last thing is you have to read 10 pages of an entrepreneurial or a type of like a self-help type book. You have to read 10 pages, and it can't be like an audio book where you listen. You actually have to read. You can use your Kindle and like highlight, or just actually use a old-fashioned book and write notes and actually highlight. So those are the 5 things, and let me tell you, it's tough. For myself, with my training, running my businesses and everything, and then incorporating that as well, you really have to be smart about your scheduling. So today's day 30. We're almost there. 75 days total, day 30. So we're going to keep on trucking. What else do I got? Oh, we got new shirts in. We got new Next Rep Fitness shirts. And remind you guys again, this is always live at Next Rep Fitness here in Dallas. So again, you hear those weights banging and clanging. It's people putting in work. So we got new t-shirts in, new design. It's got a skull on the front of it. I kind of made it look like, well, I mean, I don't know what my skull would look like, but I always wear a hat. You guys notice me, I always wear a hat most times. And so we got a skull with a hat on it. It's kind of supposed to represent me. So new shirts are in. Check it out. I posted them on Instagram, or if you're coming in the gym, you'll see them in the lobby. Also, I got I think 2 more weeks to finish this program that I wrote myself. I planned it, and I wanted to go through the whole 8 weeks myself. And before I actually publish it and let you guys have a hold of this new 8-week program that I developed for gaining mass. So as soon as I'm done with the next 2 weeks of this program, it's really intense. It's 8 weeks of really putting your body through some work, but I guarantee you're going to get some change with this plan, and soon I will have that out for you guys to pick up as well. So that's all I got for the week. Next week is going to be exciting. I'm going to hold on to those topics for Wednesday because I'm super excited. It's hard for me to even hold it in what is going to happen next week, but that's just a teaser for next week. Now let's go ahead for
What the Fitness.
What the Fitness. Again, this week was kind of dry, just like last week. Not a whole lot going on. We got the NBA playoffs going on, and my boy Giannis with Milwaukee, he's killing it. Lillard, though, hit the game winner last night. I don't know if you guys saw that for Portland, and went ahead and sunk Oklahoma. So I'm sorry, all you Oklahoma people. I'm sorry. But let's see. Got that in the NBA. One article that came out, which is really good. I like this. It makes sense to me. With sports, I think you either are all in or you're all out. And what I'm talking about is PEDs, performance enhancement drugs. So, you know what? If these athletes want to go out and they want to take steroids or HGH or all that stuff, then I think the association should come out and say, okay, hey, these guys can do it. It's fine. That's what it is. But if there's rules and regulations saying that they can't, and then they're doing it, then, there's a problem. So CrossFit has now, they went ahead and banned 10 PEDs. So that's pretty good. I like the idea, especially within CrossFit. I mean, you're supposed to be at your most elite level of fitness and conditioning, and so let's see what your body really can get to without adding those extra things. So they took the anabolic agents out, street drugs, diuretics, and other masking agents, your peptide hormones and analogs. They took anti-estrogens and metabolic modulators out, and the beta-2 agonists. So those are the 10 substances or the PEDs that they took out. I'm glad to see that. That's a good thing. This is totally not fitness related, but I thought this was pretty damn funny. When I was surfing around the other day, has anybody seen this video? It was at a Super Smash Mario's video game tournament, and which is funny right there, Super Smash Brothers video game tournament. But this guy, he came back. I guess he was losing pretty bad, and he came back to win the whole tournament. and as he's celebrating, somebody threw a dead crab at him. It almost hit his face. There's a video of it, and the guy is like in complete shock. He's like, what the hell just was thrown at me? And he looks and he grabs it, and I mean, he goes off on whoever was in the crowd. It's pretty funny. I know it's not fitness related, but it's hilarious. If you need a little laugh, go find it somewhere for the Super Smash Brothers tournament winner. You'll see that. So that's all we got for What the Fitness. I want to keep things a little bit short for our guest today. So let's go ahead and get a word from one of our sponsors.
Do you like fresh pressed juices? If so, check out Raw Roots Juices. Spelled R-A Roots. They are located in Dallas, Texas, but can ship nationwide. So if you're looking for juice cleanse or a daily juice, use this code MylerFlex for 15% off. All
right. Now it's this time.
Beat of the week.
This week's Beat of the Week is Ariana Grande and her song 7 Rings. Enjoy. All right, that was the Beat of the Week. Ariana Grande, 7 Rings. Okay, I went ahead and I turned on, we're live on Instagram right now. We're live on Facebook right now. So if you guys are listening, go check that out. If you guys want to comment on what we have, or the topics that we're talking about today. And so, yes, it is time to introduce my guest. She is a fitness marketing expert, okay? She is going to give us all the tips and the tricks that can help develop your marketing strategies and all that fun stuff. Her name is Kimberly Kirt.
Hey everyone, I'm Kimber. Super happy, super excited to be here today. I can't wait to dive into this episode.
Definitely. I'm really excited because we've had fitness influencers, and I've asked them their strategies on the stuff that they've done to help their business, but we haven't had a true marketing expert come in and say, here's what you really need to do.
Right. Happy to be here. Happy to be a guide.
Definitely. Well, first of all, let's get to know you a little bit better.
Sounds good.
Give me the background. Where'd you grow up? High school? Did you play sports? College? All that fun stuff.
Right. Yeah. So growing up, I had an older brother, so I pretty much wanted to do everything that he did. I was very athletic. I did all the boy sports and a lot of the girl sports too. So I did dance, gymnastics, figure skating, basketball. I was this height in middle school or in elementary school, so I was actually very good at basketball back in the day.
Okay.
I did track and field and softball, and then as I got older and went into high school, I stuck to dance and softball, so two polar opposites. But they actually worked really well together because I didn't get hurt very often because I was so flexible. And then that was in Wisconsin, so you might hear my accent a little bit throughout this. And I'm from Manitowoc, Wisconsin.
Go ahead and say bag. Not too bad. Some of those people, it's rough.
I know. Ever since I moved here, though, I've been very, very conscious. I still, especially when I'm around my family, or if my family's down here, then it comes out really bad. You'll probably hear a few times today. But I'm from Wisconsin. I moved down to Dallas about 3 years ago, honestly, to be warm. I was sick of the cold weather, and the year before I came here was one of the coldest winters we had, like, on record. So that was my cue to get out of there and come down to Dallas. I had been here once before. I knew there was a ton of opportunity here. I think like Frisco and just like the Dallas area was listed as like the #1 growing area the year I moved down here. So I knew there's a lot of opportunities, and I have definitely taken advantage of a lot of them. But before I was here in Dallas, I went to school at UW-Madison. So I was a Badger. I love the Big Ten, football, basketball, all that stuff. I went there for 4.5 years. I started off as an art major because I was always super creative, and I thought that was naturally just the route I should go. And then after a year of doing that and realizing I didn't really want to do that anymore, I went into the communication side. So that's more of like it was where the video was. It was where just learning how to better communicate on all different platforms really was. And then by the end of my college career is kind of when Facebook advertising started,
Okay.
but I didn't really know about it at the time. And at the end of my college career, they're like, hey, you have all these credits. If you want, you can have a minor in digital studies if you want it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll have a minor. It'll make me look a little better.
That was a good decision.
Right, exactly. And all those classes that I took, I just gravitated towards them naturally because they interest me. They're about the internet and how to communicate digitally and how people form relationships on the internet versus in person, and how, like, what's missing there, what's missing when you have a connection with someone in person, what's missing when you have that connection online, like that's that difference there. So I've taken a lot of that stuff with me as I've gone into my different career paths here in Dallas.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so then what led you into going into the fitness element of it?
Right. So in college, like I said, in high school, my entire life I was very athletic and very into sports. And when I was going into college, I was terrified of the freshman 15. I just didn't want that.
It is a real thing, too. I saw it.
Yeah. And so I was terrified of that. And I was like, okay, what can I do to stay active? What can I do to really dive into staying moving? And so I started dancing at UW-Madison. And it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't as intense as what I did when I was in high school. And they were doing tryouts to have fitness instructors. So at some schools, you have to be like a kinesiology major to be a fitness instructor. But that's not how it was at UW-Madison. So they said, like, hey, if you like these classes, you can teach them. And I loved them. I was such a group fitness freak. And like the first few weeks I was in school, and then they held the tryouts.
Some parallels there with like your dancing and
right. Well, exactly. It's a lot of choreography. It's a lot of memorization, and just the being able to move to the music is something. There's something in your brain that when you really enjoy that, it's like a great way to work out. Yeah. I did that. I tried out in 2011, and I taught for 4.5 years in college, like floors. That was like group strength, core classes, HIIT, Tabata, those types of styles of classes. And then when I graduated, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited just to be able to do my own workouts and go to work and work out and be done. And within like 3 months after graduating, I was like, something's missing. Like something very big is missing in my life, because if you've ever taught or been a group fitness instructor or just been in the fitness space, it is really addicting to change people's lives and have that how grateful they are for you. And like, even this sounds ridiculous, but when someone's like, oh, good job, like high fives all around, and sitting at my desk job, I was like, what? No one's giving high fives? No, like no one's excited about the day. Like I would always walk in, I'm like, hey everyone, how's it going? They're like, and they would just be okay. And I'm like, I've been up for 4 hours. So I knew something was missing. And a friend of mine that I met down here very early on, she was teaching indoor cycling at LA Fitness, the gym that I went to at the time. And then she was like, oh, it's my last class. I'm not teaching there anymore because of XYZ, but I'm teaching at this place called Flywheel. And I was like, what's Flywheel? And as a college student just graduating, I definitely couldn't afford Flywheel. So I was like using all the free classes I could. And then she's like, do you want to become an instructor? And I was like, yes. Like I missed that so much. And even as I've gone through.
That's where Troy Aikman, he works out there.
Yeah, Troy Aikman, Dirk's been there. When Troy Aikman came to my class the first time, I said, like, go up into third position, and he went up into third position. I almost died. Like, I was like, he just did what I told him to do. This is crazy. And I was also, like, my heart was racing the entire time. So I'm like, he was, like, right in the front row, and I was like, oh, my God.
That's pretty cool.
It was super cool. But then, so that's how I stayed in fitness. It was a part of my life I just couldn't give up. And thank goodness, because as I've gone through different transitions, that's really been the thing that's, like, been my constant. And it's connected me to so many other people. I also, when I first moved here, I did bodybuilding competitions. I competed in bikini competitions, and I also met a ton of people through that, because all those people, yes, they are bodybuilders or athletes or competitors, but a lot of people also like own businesses and have people like, I do marketing for so many people that I've met through bodybuilding actually and through Flywheel. So those have been two great areas to get into and connect with the people that I'm trying to connect with.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you enjoy your stint of the training and all that for those shows?
I think
some people love it and some people absolutely.
I really enjoyed it, and I think there's a few reasons why I did. One, I just moved to Dallas, so I didn't have a ton of friends, and so going through those competitions, I actually met one of my best friends I have today, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have met her. And so I didn't have a ton of friends, so there weren't a lot of distractions I was saying no to at the time. I didn't know all the great food that was around here, so I didn't have to say no to all that, and so it just introduced me to a ton of people. And I think more than anything, one, it was really cool to be that shredded, but two, also just seeing what you're capable of, like more physically, like more than just physical, but mentally, is being able to stick to a plan for 16 weeks or 18 weeks or however long it is and not slip up. And I feel like you see this in so many different athletes or competitors. If you can do small things every single day that lead you up to a really big plan, that is going to help you out in life so much, because if you can see like, okay, I want to have this X goal for my career, but you can't get through doing those little things every day, you're probably not going to make it to that big goal that you have. But just like in fitness, if you eat right, if you get moving, even like your 75 challenge, that sounds amazing. Like being able to do that every single day, you're going to see how mentally tough you really can be, and you can take that outside of that challenge, you can take it outside of that situation, and just really see what you are really capable of, which is going to help you out in so many different areas. And I'm never going to do bodybuilding again, but it has helped me out in other areas.
That's awesome. All right, I want to ask you this. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, there's a big disconnect. I'm 38.
Okay.
And so talking about marketing, I actually posed this question with Colin on the last podcast, and he right about your age as well, and I said, you have never experienced the old school hitting the pavement or putting ads in newspapers.
Right.
I mean, literally the only internet stuff that was out when I first started was like Craigslist.
Crazy.
Like you posted on Craigslist.
Crazy.
Like even Facebook was still just to the college student.
Yeah, and your friends and everything.
Yeah, and it wasn't, there was no Instagram, no Snapchat, Twitter, any of that stuff. So it was literally, then there was also this other deal, which I had some crazy experiences from, but Backpage.com that the Observer ran.
That sounds interesting.
But hey, that got you out there. But no, I mean, I remember going to a pizza joint up the road and telling them, hey, can I staple my business cards to your menus that you put on people's doors in the apartments, and just doing all that old stuff. So you really don't know what that's like.
Not at all.
All right.
Not at all.
I just wanted to make sure. So I know what that is like. But I'll say, even though I've gone through the whole process of watching Instagram and all these other social media platforms go, I'm still not catching up to the speed of what it is on how to use them, and like even Colin was talking about the analytics part of it and really diving down. So I want to get into that. I don't want just yet, but through the years, from when you were in college to now, are there any specific skill sets or anything that you've learned over the years that have really helped you out with today's marketing?
I would say being a constant learner, just always wanting to learn, and never just thinking that you can learn it Facebook one time and then just go on. It's just, again, there's so many parallels between Facebook and marketing, because if you were a trainer and you got your certificate and then we're like, all right, I'm not going to do any continuing education, I'm just going to do what I know with all my clients for the rest of my life, you're probably not going to have a very good turnout for your clients and for your business. So just like with that, with Facebook and Instagram, it's constantly changing, so you just have to be very flexible and know that you can't get attached to anything for too long. So it's really just being flexible and being able to like bounce from what is working and consistently analyze, like he said, like your data, and consistently analyze what's working, because what's working last month might not be working this month. So it's really a challenge to stay up to date with all that, and that's a big reason why I do what I do, because it's my job to do that. And as a business owner, it's your job to run your business. It's not your job to be like, all right, what's on Instagram today? What's happening? Like it's changing all the time. And even like have been some new releases, like the day that Instagram and Facebook shut down a few weeks ago. Terrifying day. That's because like really big things were happening in the background. So they're changing some really big things coming up. And it's going to be really exciting for both marketers and for people who are using the platform. So thing I learned is just to keep learning.
I'm irritated with Instagram right now. I just, because now I'm really getting more involved and trying to get out there more. And I see some people, they're able to go in their stories and they have like a song playing or something. And mine doesn't have that option.
I can't do that either. It's very frustrating.
I found it though. There's a YouTube video. Somebody's out there and they showed you how to change from being a US to European on your phone and then coming back to it, and then all of a sudden it comes. So
really?
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look up that YouTube video because I want that feature so bad.
It's on Facebook. I got it on my Facebook, but not on my damn Instagram.
I actually had it one time, and someone first told me when it was just released that it was a location thing. So I'm like, that's stupid. I live in Dallas, Texas. I should have this. Yeah. But one day I was going for a walk in the morning, and I'm walking. I was doing Instagram, and I saw it. I was like, oh my god, I have the feature. Yeah. And then I walked home, and it was gone. So I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, that drives me insane.
Yeah.
I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk a lot, and people always ask him this particular question, and I want to ask you.
Okay.
Do you see any apps or any systems out there that are kind of catching your eye right now that maybe people should be like, oh, hey, because I think there was one like Vero or something that came out a little bit
I was actually
ago.
Just going to say that, yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about that?
Right, so that is, I think it's the same one I'm talking about. A friend actually just told me about that the other day, that it's like Instagram but without the ads and more about the connection. Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be a good one to look out for, especially if I honestly love ads, because when you're scrolling through, if you need something, Instagram kind of knows it like almost before you do. Like, it makes my life really easy.
Big brother effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even if I'm doing research, if I say something out loud, I'm like, oh, I guess like, okay, here's all the research I need. Yeah. But if you're really looking for like that connection and wanting to just stay with your friends, and even me moving down here from Wisconsin, I use social media a lot to keep up with my friends. So I could see if I wasn't in marketing and I didn't want all that mumbo jumbo, that I would do an app like that. I think it's very, very hard to compete with the Instagrams and the Facebooks of the world, but I think they could be onto something.
Snapchat, for me, is kind of, well, first of all, really wasn't that deep into Snapchat.
Yeah, I never really got too into it.
But now there's, Instagram does everything Snapchat.
Right, exactly. And I remember even when those disappearing stories came out, I was like, oh, it's a rip-off Snapchat, but they need to do that to stay competitive. Yeah. And now, in my opinion, I used to work at an advertising agency, and we had Snapchat strategies, and we would have like geo filters and everything. And now it's not something that's talked about as much, because the amount of people who are using Snapchat goes down by pretty extreme percentages every year.
No, really?
So it's really becoming, younger people are using it still. Yeah. So maybe there'll be like a surge as they continue to grow up. But when Instagram did all those updates, Snapchat really started to fall off, which is unfortunate. What
do you think about, what is that, Musical.ly?
Musical.ly. I don't know if I know that one.
There's a lot of people that are using it's I think it used to be Bitly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Then they changed a company acquired it. And now it's called Musical.ly.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of business owners are kind of using that as well. It doesn't really advertise anything, but it makes you be like, hey, who's that person? And maybe I'll follow that person.
Right. Exactly. Stand out a little bit more. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't do that. I'm not going to sing in the camera and act anything out.
No one wants to hear me sing except for like my shower head in my car. So no one needs that.
What about LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I actually just had a friend ask me, he's like, hey, do you do LinkedIn ads? I've done LinkedIn ads before. I think if you're marketing, he does investment, he's an investment banker, so that is going to be more of the target you're looking at, is the people who, it's all about your audience, and that's in all different types of marketing, whether you should be on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I think it can be super beneficial, and also you can really target people very specifically on LinkedIn because they are putting so much information on there, and I think, in my personal opinion, people are updating their LinkedIn more than they update their Facebook. Maybe that's just me and kind of the research I've done, but when you get a new job, you usually like update it on LinkedIn, you kind of have your resume current, and stuff like that. So I think especially for the older generation who wants to have more like professional services, I think that's a great spot to market on LinkedIn.
Yeah, because they changed their platform, right?
Yeah, they did.
So they got like where you can do your own posts and stuff.
Right.
So I've kind of done a few things here or there. I need to get a lot more in depth with LinkedIn.
Right.
Because like you said, it does target to more of that business professional.
Right. Exactly.
So what do you think, or tell me, what are the best times and why is it so important to post something at a certain time, at a certain date, and all that good stuff? Explain the whole world of posting
the
at
algorithm.
The right time. Yes.
Yeah, so posting at the right time, it can be different for everybody. So I know I get emails because I follow a ton of different marketing like blogs and everything, and they're like, all right, find out the best time to post to Instagram. And you get that every week because that's something you want to open up every single week. You want to open it up. But every time you read an article like that, it's like, look at what your followers are doing. Like, look at your profile. So especially if you're a business profile, you can go see when your followers are the most active. And because Instagram right now, is not chronological, it's based on popularity, you want to get in front of people when they're there, and so they can like it right away, because the more people that like it, it's just going to keep showing up higher on people's feeds. But super interesting is that I heard through the next Instagram update that they might be going back to chronological ordering. Which is interesting. So it's taking away the algorithm of, oh my God, like, I haven't seen this person's post, or this isn't, like, I'm not getting as much engagement. What happened? So posting, the time that you're posting is really just all about when your followers are active. Yeah. And the faster that you get likes, the higher your stuff goes up.
And how can you figure out, when people are watching the most? How do you figure
so
that out?
you can go on your app if you have a business account. Instagram, floating. Instagram is really good about giving you all those data points and all the statistics, so you can go in and you can go under audience, and then you can see when they're the most active, and it'll show you like Monday through Friday, and then maybe like Thursdays. Like my personal times are Mondays and Thursdays for whatever reason are the highest. If you are not a business account and you're trying to grow your following, I would just experiment, post very similar types of content. Maybe it might take you a few weeks to do that, and post very similar types of content and see which content performed the best, just so you can see when your followers are online. And I think it's easier to grow a personal account because Instagram still favors those, but there are so many tools in the business area. So if you're a business account already, I won't say go back to personal, but if you're in personal, like, hang on to that personal as long as you can until you really start needing to use it for business purposes. But it's a balance, because business has so many data, so many pieces of data in it that I love to see. So
I have a hard enough time just getting one post out a day.
It's tough
because I really rely a lot more on the stories.
Yes,
because
which are huge right now.
Fast,
easy.
Boom! I can do it real fast. I can just add a hashtag.
Doesn't
or whatever,
have to be professional. It goes away. Yeah.
But the post, it's more time consuming. You're trying to do something that's creative. That type of deal. So, what are the number of posts or stories per day do you think a business, and this isn't just in fitness. I mean, this could be for, massage therapists that's trying to get their stuff out, a life coach, whatever. So what do you feel is the best number for that day?
Right. So you should be putting out some sort of content every single day, but that doesn't mean you need to do a post every single day, because Instagram, it favors its new features. So stories are still relatively new. If you're on stories consistently, it's going to really like you for that. And even going live, like we both are right now, it really loves when people go live. So the more that you use its features like that, it is going to put you higher at the top of, even in the feed, it's going to put you higher at the top because you are a user that's on the app constantly and using everything that Instagram has to offer. So I probably post to my client stories and to my own stories at least 3 times a day, just so I stay at top of mind, whether it's for me or for my brands. And then posting, depending on the business, I post like 3 to 6 times per week. There are other clients that I post 14 times a week for, just because it's more of like just their audience really digs up content, so you can post that many times a day and they're gonna react to that. But I have some clients that 3 times a week is enough, but we're still active on their stories every single day because, like you said, it's quicker, it's faster, and a lot of times they get more eyes on them, they get more impressions just because that's something that people are always clicking through right at the top when they log into the app.
Yeah. What do you think about building? Well, do you think a business should have multiple accounts?
I don't.
Okay. Why,
so I think that you should focus all of your effort on one account, building one account. Of course, if you have different facets, like if you have a health and fitness pyramid and you have like more of a I'm trying to even think, like maybe like aesthetic, like med spa type deal, those would make sense that it's separate because those are 2 very different fitness or 2 different very different offerings. But if you had like Myler fitness and Myler nutrition, like those are very similar, so they should be within the same vein. Yeah.
See, I have 2.
Yeah.
But the one's for Next Rep Fitness,
right,
the gym, and
right,
then I have Myler Flex, which
right,
is more my personal training and
right,
the podcast,
yes,
and for the YouTube and all that stuff.
Right, and I actually just did that myself too. So with something like that, what I was finding is that a lot of times when I was talking with clients, because my Instagram is really like a business card for me. Like I talk a lot. I mean, that's how you found me. I talk a lot about different marketing things, but also fitness things. And I was finding that I felt kind of weird, like saying like, "Hey, go to Kimber LKI and find me on Instagram." And or even if I have like a website, am I going to post? Is it going to be my personal page? Because then when I have 1 employee right now, but when I have 10, is it weird that we're still going to my page for that? So I just made my own business account, and that is, I think it's good to have different for your personal and for your business. If it's like a gym like this, you want to have a gym account because you can talk more about your personal life on your personal account and your fitness training and everything like that. So I think for that it is important because then you have a website, you don't want to put your own stuff on there, you want to have the gym stuff on there. So in that scenario, I do think 2 is a good idea.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so you're okay.
Now, also speaking about your business and everything,
yes.
Your true marketing company is called Hustle and Flow?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And,
yes.
and tell me how that truly developed and everything.
Right. So I have been just operating under Kimberly Kirt for a while because I was like the fit marketer, but then I was like, okay, well I do things outside of fitness, but I love fitness, but I'm a marketer. Is that cutting out people that aren't in the fitness area? So I kind of got away from that and I did Hustle and Flow because obviously you're hustling, you're working very hard in fitness and in your work, but then there comes a point when you start, like when you're hustling, there comes a time where you do get to flow. And that is very true in ads as well, because ads take a lot of work up front, but then once you crack them and once you figure them out, they can just run. Okay. And so like then they're in a state of flow. And then when I'm in a state of flow, it's nice you did all your hard work for the day, and at the end of the day you can be at peace with what you accomplished. That's kind of like the flow. So it really embodies like how ads work, but also how I operate as a human being. Yeah. So lots of different meanings there.
Do you advise your clients on how much they should spend on the like Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and how do you come up with that number?
Right. So you can do a little bit of competitive research on Google, but that's just for Google ads. That it gives you a really nice range. For Facebook, it's more of a guess and check type thing. You can have a certain budget, and if that is getting served and you're having success with, say it's $300 a month, it makes sense to go up to $500 a month then for that ad spend, because if people are continuously clicking, engaging with your content, that's a good thing. But I've also had it where we have a really high budget, and say your budget's $700 and only $600 of it's being used. That just means that one, you either need to rework your ad or target your ad differently, or it was a Dallas-based business, so it's like we didn't need $700 to get to that niche market of Dallas. We didn't need that much money. So it really is working and going through those ads and seeing what you need and what works best for you. And the best thing about that is you can change your mind on that constantly. You can, you can change that. You can add money, you can take away money. You can see what ads are performing best. You can pause the ones that aren't working. So it's really nice. You're never tied to anything like in traditional advertising where I used to work, and it was like, if you sign this contract for how many thousands of dollars, and that is
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So that's your area. You know that.
Yeah, I've had all those, Observer and all them come to me. And be
Exactly.
like, oh, and my jaw drops to the floor. I'm like, that much?
Right.
And then now when you
They're like, I think I'm just going to go out and talk to people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when you compare it now to like Facebook and all that, I mean, just like Gary Vee says, I mean, really, it is underpriced the way it is right
for
now.
sure, 100%. And even that is actually one of the hardest things to get in the mind of people who aren't really listening to like podcasts and don't know a ton about marketing, is that they kind of think like Facebook marketing it's not free, but they don't understand like how valuable that $500 can be, because I think they are used to putting out thousands and thousands of dollars, like, oh well, what's your $500 going to get me? And they're really skeptical about the amount of money they put in, even like if they think it's too small, if they think it's too big. A lot of potential clients, a lot of people who I don't end up signing, it's usually because they don't understand the ad budget and they're just afraid of spending that money in a foreign space, because it's still only 5 years old, so it's hard to see if you've never done Facebook advertising before, if you've only ever done like word of mouth advertising. It can be very scary to put your money into something like that, but the great thing about Facebook is that you can see the return immediately. You can see how it's coming back to you immediately. So that's one of the biggest reasons actually I got into Facebook marketing, is because when I was in advertising, I was a producer. So we would make the videos and the editorials and everything, but you could guess the amount of impressions that they had, but you couldn't be like, oh yeah, X amount of people bought this product or X amount of people visited this restaurant based on this ad. You just really can't have that really solid ROI. Like you can't tell them like this happened because of this specific ad. And in digital marketing, you can do that, which is so awesome and just great for me, because if a client's unhappy about something, I can be like, well, I increased your revenue by 2 times this month. Like if you weren't spending the money on the Facebook ads, you wouldn't have made this much money. So it's very easy to show the return, which is it's a big benefit for me. Yeah.
What's your philosophy on just getting an ad out, or really taking the time to make the creative really top notch?
Right, I think that's one of the most important things. The creative itself, like the pictures, interestingly enough, I've been doing some tests lately. I usually it's very important to test your ads and not just throw one out there that you think is going to connect with everybody. So I've been doing some tests lately where I'll have one professional photo. I'll use your gym as an example. Say we came in here, we had one very professional photo of someone working out in here. We had one photo of like an iPhone selfie of someone just like standing in the gym, and one photo of like a colorful background type thing or something like that. And the selfie pictures for like gym-like settings or even like personal brands do really, really well, because people see that as more of like their feed, so they're going to click on it. But then there's also different products, like I had like a sheets store, we were selling sheets, and they wanted to see the professional product because then they knew they should be clicking on that. So it's gonna depend on what you're doing, but we've seen a lot of really good success with like native looking images, like the selfies and the iPhone pictures, as funny as it sounds. So you can do some really good ads with your iPhone, like shout on iPhone. And then just as you go into that, it is so important to just be clear in the caption that you have or in the ad text that you have in your ad, because if you don't have a clear call to action, people could be like, well, I want to go to the gym, but do I call you? Do I go to the website? I don't know what to do. And especially when you're starting something new, if you don't have clear directions, you're probably not going to go ahead and do it. And then you also want to create an offer that is crystal clear, so people know exactly what they're getting out of it, because we're all human beings. We're looking out for ourselves. So your ad should say what you're getting out of it, what they should do next, and like be very specific to them. Like you always want to kind of niche down and be very specific with, if you're talking to women 25 to 50, or you're talking to new moms, or you're talking to past athletes, you can really target and mold your ad so when they're scrolling, they're like, dude, this is me. Like you're talking to me right now. Like that's always the effect that you want when your ad is going through someone feed.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and the other thing that why it's so important on Instagram to get a big following is because after 10,000 people, then that's when you can actually link your story.
Yeah,
right?
Super exciting. Super exciting. We actually just got that for one of my, I shouldn't say just got that, it was a few months ago, but we finally got the swipe up feature like totally organically. We actually aren't doing any ads with them. So that was, we were very, very proud of that, growing their following all the way up to 10K without doing any
See, I don't have the swipe up.
Yeah.
I got where I can put the link in.
Yeah, so you can do it to
14,000 followers, but I don't have the swipe up.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
My Instagram's screwed.
Yeah, man. We got a weird connection there.
Yeah.
So the swipe up is amazing, especially if it just makes everything easier. Like if you have classes you want to fill up, swipe up, book your class. It just makes the user experience more seamless. And actually Instagram is now introducing something. It's in beta testing right now where for like a few big name brands that you're actually going to be able to buy directly from Instagram. So instead of having to click and then go to their store and then check out your card, it's actually very dangerous. Your card information is going to be saved in the Instagram, so you can click on something and can buy it.
Yeah, my wife's watching. She's a late night Amazon shopper, so oh shit.
But now it's going to be easier.
Yeah, it's going to be way easier.
So you don't even need to go get your credit card. And that's honestly whenever I'm like scrolling or online shopping, if I'm sitting on my couch, I'm like, does it really warrant the trip to go get my credit card? And that's usually what stops me, and now Instagram is taking that out of the equation. So
okay, I'm going to ask you why. It drives me insane, but obviously there's a reason why people do this in their post. You see the Instagram post, and then you hit more, and I mean it is like this long of content. Why in the hell is it that way?
Right. So depending on your business and depending on what you're trying to accomplish, short form and long form content definitely has its place. So for brands that I have that are like product based, you don't really need a big long description on why this shampoo is the best shampoo in the world. You give me a few details, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that sounds really interesting. But if you're an online coach, long form content, I mean, some people I do think is way too long, so I'm like, I don't want to read this.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't read any of them.
Yeah, but there are some, like if you're an online coach for fitness, relationships, anything like that, you want to be vulnerable and you want to connect with people. And so say if I don't read it, that just means I'm not an ideal client for them. But if they have a headline that say I'm struggling, say I'm a new mom and I'm struggling with my weight after pregnancy or something. One of my friends is a coach for new moms, so I'm using her as an example.
Yeah.
Hey Kaylee, what's up? So she helps moms after they've been pregnant get back into the gym or get not back into the gym and just work out at home. So she has a lot of posts that kind of has like a strong headline, hook people in. If I'm a new mom, I'm going to read her content. If I'm not, I probably won't read it, but she wants the new moms to read it. So if I'm a new mom and I'm scrolling through, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've had this same exact struggle. This is me. I think she can help me because she's been through this. Just being able to relate to people and be more vulnerable, that's what those long form content pieces are for.
Oh man, I gotta get better at that. I see so many people doing that, and I'm just like,
yeah. But also, if it's not your style, it's like get on and write something really long. You can go to your story and just talk about it.
See, that's more my style.
Yeah, exactly. Because no matter what way the content gets out there, what I feel in this day and age with all of our audio and visual technologies is that it is so much easier to sell nowadays. And I haven't been in the other days, but it's like
my golden era.
In these days, it's super easy to sell because I could stalk someone for a really long time. I could watch, and I've done this with people I've done like their courses for. I watch their videos, I listen to their podcast. I feel like I know them. So if they serve an ad to me, I'm like, I'm done. Like I already know them. I already know what they're about. I can buy this. Yeah. So the more, especially as a coach, the more that you're on video, the more you're doing podcasts, stuff like this, people get to know you and they get to like you, and that's what makes them want to work with you. Yeah. Okay,
so I do online training as well.
Yes, awesome.
I have my own app, and then I also do an accountability aspect of the video thing. Kind of, it's kind of like FaceTime, except it's like a video voicemail type deal. So you don't have to watch it immediately.
Okay, perfect.
So anyways, what would you say are like the top 3 or 5 things that an online coach can do to help their business today kind of grow?
Perfect. I would say be niche specific. So that is, like I used my friend's example already, be very clear with who you're working with, because even if you say I help new moms after they've had babies get back to like the body of their dreams or something like that, when you're putting out content, workouts, diets, you can still get people who aren't moms. Actually, my friend, she has clients that's like 50-50, like 50% moms, 50% people who just want to like get fit with her. And so if you're niche specific, you're going to have that power of people seeing you as an expert in your area. It's just like if you go to if you want steak, you're probably not going to go to a buffet. You're going to go to a steak restaurant. Or if like you're having heart problems, you're not going to go to a general doctor. So you just kind of want to make yourself super niche down, be very specific on who you help. The second thing I would say is kind of like I got into with that long form post is be vulnerable. I know when I was doing online coaching, I did it for a little bit. I was super scared to be vulnerable because it was scary to me. But the second I did that, I talked about like when I was younger, I didn't like my legs. My legs were always so much bigger than everyone else, but I was also like the fastest and the strongest. And I didn't realize like how, as a kid, like why my big legs, I just didn't like them at all.
Yeah.
And now I just shared that, and then I got like 3 new clients after that because they're like, oh my gosh, like I hate, like I've always disliked my legs, but I think my legs could look like yours. So like, what do I need to do? Like, I think you could help me type thing.
Yeah.
And when I was kind of learning how to do that, they always said if you're not like a little scared to post it, it's like not vulnerable enough. So now all of a sudden I'm like sharing my life on Instagram, and I don't do it as much anymore. But that's super important when you're a coach.
I'm actually really shy, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are like, whatever, Cody. But I like when I go live or even like this stuff,
Right.
I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, but and once you start doing that, though, it's like, all right, now I'm not even on camera. Like this whole time, I haven't really thought about the fact that I'm talking into this microphone. But yeah, so I would say be vulnerable, be yourself. There are so many fitness coaches in the online space. If you try and be someone else, people are going to know. So be yourself. You're going to attract people that are just like you. So what I always say is talk to the people, like talk to the person who was you like 2 steps ago, like how you were before you started going to the gym, or how you were before you started eating healthy, or before you started eating keto. Like what was the thing that it was in your head? You're like, I need to make a switch, like I need to make a change, and then speak to that in your content, that like your aha moment sort of a thing. So be vulnerable, be yourself, and then just give value, because you want people to think, okay, he's giving me these workouts, he's giving me these diet tips, he's giving me all this stuff. Like, if he's giving me all this for free, what would it be like to work with him? Like, how much value would I get then? And really, when it comes down to working with someone, it's just like an accountability thing at that point.
Yeah.
But you just want to give, and kind of when you're posting on Instagram, I always say like a 90 to 10 ratio, like 90% value, and then 10% of like pitching your products or letting people know what you're selling, because people should know like you're doing all this. You can give them something, you can sell something, you have to monetize somehow, but just keep giving value. And I think that's something that Gary Vee talks about all the time too, is just give people value, give people the knowledge, and then they can do with it what they want, and more than likely they're going to become a client or a big fan.
Or
what
happens, I've seen, I have no problem if somebody's like, hey, how can I get my triceps better or something like that, and I'll give them everything they got to do. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it. They're eventually going to be like, you know what, I need you to
exactly.
To do it.
But then they're like, man, that guy was super cool. He gave me all this stuff. I just can't do it by myself. And it's just, again, it shows how much of a professional you are and how much you want to help people. So it makes them also feel better about giving their money to you, because then it's like, okay, I know this guy's going to help me because he helped me before I was even paying him, and now he's just going to make sure I do it. He's going to be on me.
Well, before we wrap this up, I just want everybody, if you got any questions, ask them now. And if you have anything else that you want to talk about before we got about another 5-6 more minutes left, so if there's anything you want to target on, it's all you.
I think we really hit everything that I was planning to talk about. We talked about if you're a business, what kind of you should do on Facebook and Instagram, and if you're online coach, and even if you're an influencer too, you can do very specific things with getting your name out there, being vulnerable, because the more vulnerable and the more you are, brands who want to work with you are going to see who you are, and then that is what makes them work with you. They're not going to work with you because you're like everybody else. So as cheesy as it sounds, be yourself and just don't let Instagram turn you into something else. And actually, I would add like not getting caught up in the metrics, because I think that is a really big thing. And I actually just listened to this podcast that kind of talked about the rise of anxiety because of Instagram. And I know one of my friends has a little sister, and if they don't get like 100 likes on a picture, they'll delete it. And that is just so sad to me that people are basing their value on Instagram likes and Instagram comments and everything. So especially when you're a coach, like this happened to me when I made the switch from fitness to marketing. My following kind of dropped a little bit and then kind of stayed the same, because I think the people who were following were fitness kind of dropped off, and then people who want more marketing information are gradually coming on. But my audience size really hasn't changed that much over the past, because there's a big kind of overhaul in who is following me. So don't get too caught up in the metrics. Even if you have 500 followers and you're yourself and you're true to them, you could have some clients out of those 500 followers, and just don't get too caught up in it, because it's a dangerous game if you get too connected to the numbers.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of following, let everybody know how they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so follow me on my personal Instagram page. It is Kimber LKI, so like timber with a K. And then my business page is Hustle and Flow So social company. So Hustle and Flow So Co on Instagram, Kimber LKI on Instagram as well. Follow me, hit me up, ask me any questions that you might have. I would love to hear from you, even if you're just like wanting to know how to get into like the online space as a coach, as a business owner, anything. I love helping out people like build a side hustle. So would love to help you guys out with that.
Well, thanks a lot for coming down. I know we've been trying to make this happen for a long time.
I know. I am so happy to finally make it down here.
Definitely. I hope some of the tips that you gave out, all the free content you gave, it helps somebody.
Yes.
And remember her company, and if you guys want to expand your business and do more marketing and ideas that you can't come up on your own, definitely contact Kimberly. Do it to it. Well, that's another episode of the Myler Flex podcast. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and just like always, keep repping and flexing. Talk to you later.
Hey guys, do me a big favor and go follow Myler Flex on Instagram and Facebook. And if you want more videos of the podcast or workout videos, follow the Myler Flexing podcast on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Till next time, keep repping and flexing.